So thank you so much for joining today. I'm going to go ahead and get started. And if you are having trouble getting the feed or getting connected, just let us know. You can reach out to support, and the support team will reach out to me. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, I'm going to show you a little bit. Hey, can you guys hear me okay? All right, awesome. So, hey everybody, this is Zack Griset with Buildbox. We're just getting fired up and just getting set up. Sorry for the delay. There was some technical difficulties with getting the stream set up, but I think we're good to go now. So, thank you so much for joining us here today. We're going to take a look at Buildbox today and take a look at some FBX support features, and we're going to just take a look at Buildbox in general and just kind of see and show you what are some of the new things that are coming out with the software and some things that you can expect along the way. So let's go ahead and let's check this out. So first on the list is we're going to open up a Livestream 1. So this is the first BB doc, and we're going to go over some FBX stuff. So I went and I created this I created this scene here, this first scene, with a ton of assets and a ton of buildings and a bunch of different OBJ files for this first scene. I'll go ahead and zoom out here so you can all see it. But I just wanted to let you know, so I created this nice, very, very looking scene, kind of like a little town, a little set of streets. And I did this with all of the assets. Every single thing I found here is in the software, and you can find it in the asset library. Okay, so hey, I'm getting a couple connection error problems real fast, so I'm going to go ahead and just take a quick tweak right now. I'm going to take 1 minute to tweak this up, and then I'll get back on. So give me just a second. Okay, so first thing on the list, let's check out this FBX tutorial that I've got here for you. So once again, every single thing that you see here in this scene can all be found in the asset library. So I just went over here to the top left corner, I went to the asset library, I went over here to assets, and then right here we have this huge list of different assets that you can use, and we're constantly adding more assets to it all the time. And so you definitely want to be checking this section of the software regularly, keeping an eye out for new assets that are coming in and seeing if you can use any of them for your game. So I'll say that if you take a look at my game here, I'll go ahead and I'll exit out of the asset library real fast. But you can see that there's a certain type style of artwork here. It's a little bit more kind of voxely, more of like almost you could say like Robloxy, and so I kept that consistent throughout the entire scene. So now let's go ahead and yeah. So I just pulled all these buildings right here from the asset library, and you can go through and you can search here at the top if you want to find certain assets that you're looking for. If you're like, let's say I want to find a tree, then I can just see here everything related to trees. And yeah, it's really, really simple. It's super fast and easy to decorate your scenes. So let's go ahead and let's preview the game and what I've got so far. So basically what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to set up this character. It's going to be kind of similar to the FBX tutorial that I released earlier this week. So it's, if you've already seen that, then that's great. If you haven't, then you definitely want to check it out. Also, if you'd like to follow along with the lesson today, go ahead and download the asset pack with all of these, with this character's assets, the FBX files, and they're in the description of the YouTube video, of the YouTube tutorial that I have. So all you have to do is check our channel, check the latest releases, and you should see the download link in the description. So make sure you download that. I'm going to go ahead and preview the game a little bit more. I'll give you guys some time to download that, and then come back, jump back on, and I'll walk you through how to take those assets, take those FBX files, throw them into Buildbox, make them into a main character, just like this character Jen right here. So real fast, I'm just going to kind of show you. We've got the ability to rotate the camera around. It looks really, really solid. I gotta say, this looks really clean. It's like a nice 3D world, 3D game that you can totally like immerse yourself in and move around. It looks really nice. Yeah, we are not limited to 2D games with Buildbox at all. You can totally, throw these FBX files in there and you can design your own little world, and it looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. So, okay. Awesome. So let's go ahead and figure out how we can make this character here, this little character Jen that we've got here. So, okay, cool. So I'm going to exit out of my preview here. I'm going to get out of the asset library. And real quick, in the description of the FBX tutorial that we released this week, you should have downloaded this zip file right here, and it contains the idle animation, jump animation, walk and run, and then the texture. So for the character. So let's go ahead and let's crack this open. So I'm just going to delete this Jen character right now, and I'm going to start completely fresh so that you know what to do from the start. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my start scene real fast, and I'm going to zoom in over here, and I'm just going to slowly get over there. Great. Okay, let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit closer. Cool. Okay. So let's go ahead, let's drop this character in here right now. And let's go ahead. Okay, perfect. So first things first, you want to drop in your first FBX file in there, and it's a little bit tricky how this works. But basically, what you do is you can set up your idle animation. I'm going to go ahead and drop in this idle FBX animation here. I'm going to drop it in as the main character. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hide this for right now. Now, the next thing. Now, hold on one second. I'm going to just. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, checking connection. All right, perfect. Okay. So, okay, let me check something real fast for the live stream on Twitch. I'm getting a message from people that the Twitch live stream is not working. Interesting. Okay, cool. Well, you know what? Hey, Twitch didn't work out today. Really sorry about that, guys. It says that it should be live and it should be working on my end, but if it's not, I'm really sorry. You can still watch on YouTube, on Facebook. I'm streaming on Instagram right now, and yeah, you have a couple different options. So if it's not working on Twitch for you, totally apologize for that. You can jump on one of the other social channels. YouTube's a great option. So I'll go ahead and continue with the tutorial now. We have our FBX character right here, and let's go ahead and first let's start by just scaling this character down a little bit. It's a little bit big. So I'll go ahead and start by doing about 0.3, 0.3, 0.3, all in the different X, Y, and Z scales. And let's go ahead and move this down. We'll set this up. Just move it just above the road there. Perfect. Okay, cool. Now let's go ahead and let's go into this character's node map, and let's go ahead and mess with this character. So you can see now that when you drop in the idle animation, what it does is it automatically creates the character for you. You start off with a start node. You start with the idle animation. So this bottom node here is what handles the animation, and then over here, this handles the 3D model and the scene. So I'm going to go ahead and just preview the game real fast so you can see what we're working with. Okay, so we've got just this really basic character, and you can see that the character only idled once. The animation only played once. It may be hard to see, so I'll go ahead and I'll refresh it again so you can see. Okay, so the idle animation, the character kind of moves and ducks down once, and then that's it. So let's go ahead and let's make it so that the idle animation loops, and so it looks a little bit more natural, looks a little bit more like you would normally see in a video game. So I'll exit out of the preview real fast, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select the animation node right here at the bottom, and then up here in the top right corner you have the ability to loop your animations. So I'll go ahead and I'll click the little loop toggle button, and then now when I press my game and I press preview, you can see that the character continuously idles and the animation is looped, which is really great. And you can speed up that animation or slow it down if you want as well, but for right now this is where we want to keep it. So next thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and add in a jump animation. Let's make this character jump. So I'm going to go back to my 3D world, and I'm going to take my jump animation, and I'm going to drop it into the scene. Okay, now the cool part about this is I can just drop this anywhere. I don't have to drop it in as an object. I don't have to drop this in as a character. If I drop it anywhere, what happens is the import options window pops up instead, because what it does is it checks the FBX file, and it checks to see if there's any other objects or any other FBX characters in the software that has the same skeleton, that has a similar skeleton, and so that means it can combine animations and store it all into one character. So we've already got this idle character, Jen, or this Jen at idle. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that Jen is selected. We'll make sure that modify selected is turned on. And we'll make sure that add animation is turned on as well. Now, if you select create new, it's going to create a brand new character, and the other modify options will mess with it too. So let's just focus on adding animation, modified selected, and then you press import, and it's super easy. Now, as soon as you press import, it's like, okay, what just happened? Where did the jump animation go? So we'll go into the gen.idle again, and then boom, there's the jump animation. It's that bottom node, and you can see that it added it right there. So next, what we're going to do is let's make it so that this character actually jumps. So first, we're going to add in a little touch node here. We'll go ahead and hook it up so that it's enabled, and we'll make it so that when it touches the screen, we'll add a little bit of movement here. We'll make the character jump, and then we'll also make the character play the jump animation. Okay, now let's see what happens now with that. I'm going to change the jump force to a little bit lower because I already know that 20 is going to be too high. So let's try something like 9, and then let's go ahead and just test this out. Okay, cool. So I'm going to touch the screen real fast, and then boom, you can see that the character did a little jump, and there was kind of like an awkward animation, but we'll go ahead and we'll fix that soon. So next, I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this preview, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that the character starts idling again when it hits the ground. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's check this real fast. I'm going to bring in an if collide node. I'll hook it up, and then I'll hook this up so that once it hits the ground, when it comes in contact with anything, really, I'm just going to leave it as the affected asset is all. I'm going to leave the affected as all, so that if it comes contact with anything, it's going to start doing the idle animation again. But for your situation, you may want to make it so that when you land on a platform or land on the ground, that's probably a more common use of the if collide node and getting the idle animation back in there. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at this now. Okay, so we got the idle animation, we got a little jump going on, and then the character lands back down. Awesome. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do is, so we can keep building out this character node by node like this, and it's totally doable. It's completely easy, but there's an even easier way to do this using Buildbox's brain boxes. Okay, so we have this brain box feature that allows you to do all of this super fast, super easy. So let's go ahead and let's do that now. first, to do that, we need to make sure we delete all these other nodes that are currently in this character's node map. Okay, we have to start off with a fresh node map. And keep in mind that when you drop in the, let's say you were planning on using the brain boxes from the very beginning, right? You weren't going to do what I just did and start building it out node by node like that. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to make sure that when you drop in that first idle animation into the scene, you gotta go into the character's node map and you gotta delete those. You gotta delete the skeleton and you gotta delete the animation. Or what's gonna happen is when you add the brain box in there, it's gonna duplicate it, and there's gonna be two of them. So when you drop it, drop in an animation, delete the nodes, start with a fresh node map, and then you're good to go to add in some brain boxes. So I'm gonna go ahead and select my character here. I'm gonna rename her just Jen, instead of gen.idle, which is the name of the file that we first dropped in. And first I'm going to give her a little physics. And I'm going to also, I'm going to change some of these settings here in a little bit as well, but I'm going to wait to do it, and I'm going to show you why I changed those settings later. So first I'm going to add a brain box, and then I'm going to add the animated platformer brain box, which is under the advanced platformer right up at the very top. Okay, so we've got an animated platformer, and you'll notice that when I deleted the skeleton and the animation, you can't see Jen in the scene anymore because it's completely gone. So what we're going to do is, let's see here. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by selecting our skeleton. So we're going to go click this little edit button. This is going to open up the sub-scene manager. I'm going to shrink this down just a little bit. Okay. Or I'll put it right about here. Okay, great. And then I'm going to select this little idle character here. I'm going to go ahead and let's say, you notice the other Gen at idle animation that I've got going on, the other character? Okay, so if you want to get rid of that from Buildbox and you want to delete it, all you have to do is click off this little lock button here, and then it will go ahead and remove it later on. Okay, yeah, so took a second, but I finally was able to click it. And so you just click that off, and then when you close Buildbox and you open it back up again, it's going to be gone. So it won't be messing with anything in there. Okay, cool. So okay. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to select the blank animation that I was showing you earlier, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select an animation here at the bottom, and I'm just going to show you that we have this little preview window so that you can preview animations in here and just check them out and see, and you can adjust the speed of the animation and everything like that. So let's go ahead and I'll show you run as well. Okay, very, very cool. So it doesn't really matter actually which animation we choose at the bottom, because this is just for previewing. It's just to like, oh cool, animation looks good, right on, let's keep moving on. So then so I've got my idle animation selected. I'll go ahead and save. Now you can see that I've selected the skeleton, selected the 3D model there. You can see Jen in our scene right down here below. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead here. Perfect. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in some more animations, just like we added in the jump animation before, but it's much easier this time. So since we already dropped in the jump animation, we're going to just select this drop down menu here at the jumping, and we're going to select the jump pose animation, which is the animation that we were using before. I also have the run and walk animation in here already because I was messing with this template and getting this all set up. So but what you'll want to do for everybody watching the video, you'll want to take the run and walk FBX files, and you want to drag them in here and drop them into this little window right here, and then that will go ahead and that'll make it so that the animation will show up on the drop-down menu now. For me, I've already added it, so it's already there. So I'll go ahead and I'll change run to the running animation. I'll change walk to the walking animation, and I'll change idle to the idle animation. So now we've got idle, walk, run, and jumping all squared away. It's all done. And now we can go ahead and start messing with this character. So first off, let's go ahead. So we have this character set up, and we've got the animation set up, but we don't have any controls. Like, we don't have keyboard controls or touch controls. There's nothing set up yet. So let's go ahead. Let's add that now. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and save. It's always a good idea to just save your games regularly and keep backup files. It's a good practice when you're working with Buildbox for sure. Okay, so I'm going to add in another brain box, and this time I'm going to add in keyboard controls. And it's so amazing, these brain boxes, because they just do all the work for you. So we just added those 2 brain boxes, right? Let's see what's happening under the hood. Okay, so if we go back to Gen. Look at look at all the nodes that come with these brain boxes. This is a ton of work that is done for you, and it's already it's all set up. And you can go in and you can edit some of this around if you'd like, but it's already pre-baked for you. You don't even need to go in here, and you don't even need to look at this if you don't want to, which is so nice. It's the power of Buildbox right there. So we've got keyboard controls. So what that does is that I believe that adds in the W, A, S, and D keyboard controls. It adds in the arrow controls, the keyboard arrow controls, and it also adds in a run key and a jump key. So the run key and the jump key are down here at the bottom, and you can go ahead and set them however you like. You just put in, right now it's set to Z and X. You can go ahead and change it to whatever you like. I'm going to go ahead and preview the game so you can go ahead and see what we're working with. So we've got the character just idling like regular, and then this is like a walk, but the character is like sliding around. If you watch closely, she slides around, and it's like she's on ice or something. And then you can also run, and that's just like super duper fast. That's probably way too fast. And then you see how much she slides once you stop running. Her momentum just keeps pushing her. So we need to up the friction, and we need to slow down the walk speed and the run speed. Okay, so let's do that. So let's exit out of the preview, and let's go ahead and first let's slow down the walk speed and the run speed. So first let's go to 4 for the walk speed, and let's do like 7 or 8. Let's do 8 for the run speed. Okay, and then last but not least, we need to up the friction so that the character is not just sliding around everywhere. So we're gonna go to the friction. You can mess with all these settings: the walk speed, the run speed, the friction. All these things you can mess with yourself. You do not have to set it up to these settings. However, this is just what I'm using because it kind of looks nice with this character. So I'm gonna set the friction to 4. And so I set the friction to 4, and then I'm going to go ahead and press play again. And then now let's take a look at how the walking looks. Okay, the walking looks way better in my opinion. It just looks way more natural. The steps and the amount you're moving and in the timing with the animation, it looks more natural. So the next thing, let's check the running animation. The running animation looks good too. I think we've got a winner here for the running animation. The character in itself is a little bit big. We've got a jump animation working there too. The character probably could be a little bit smaller than this little guy. It's probably a little bit big compared to the truck too. So we might shrink the character down a little bit too. But let's go ahead and I'll exit out of the preview real fast. And I'll go ahead now and I'm going to add in some camera controls next. So let's go ahead and add in another brain box. And I'm going to add in some keyboard camera controls. So I just select that brain box. Super easy. It tells you how fast the camera can rotate, and it gives you 2 button options to rotate left or rotate right. So let's go ahead and let's save our game again. and let's preview. Okay, 1 second. I got a message. All right. Yeah, it looks like Twitch is down. Sorry about that, everybody. Definitely want to join up on YouTube. So, okay, cool. So now let's go ahead and let's test out the camera movement. So if I press W and E, you can see that the camera starts moving around the character, which is, very much like, you might have like the C controls or something on like a, an Xbox game or a PS4 or something like that, or a Nintendo Switch game. So this is looking a lot better. This is looking way more professional and really, really clean. Now, the only thing is we can add in some more controls, and then we also need to add in a texture here to make this character look a little bit better. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to exit out of the preview. And I'm going to go over here into my animated platformer, and I'm going to click the little subscene manager and open up that window. And then over here on the right, the 3D models are minimized, but I'm going to open up their little drop-down menus over here on the right. And then this is where you can add in the texture. Now, remember, this folder of all the files here for the Gen character is in the description of the FBX tutorial that we posted this week. So if you need these files, just you can grab them there. Okay, so I'm going to open up this folder. I'm going to take the texture here at the top, and I'm going to drop it in for the character. And I'm going to drop it in for the ponytail and for like the main body. So I'm going to exit out of the animations now. Now, you can see, you can see that the character is looking a lot better, but the character, like the coloring on it, is a little bit off. It's a little bit dark. Like the orange, the yellow, everything is a little bit darker than usual. So let's go ahead, and there's a reason why. So when we first dropped in our 3D model, it was a gray colored 3D model, right? That was our skeleton, our 3D model, our FBX file there. That it was colored gray. So what happens is when you add in a texture, it's already going to inherit the color from the original 3D model, from the original file. So what we need to do is we need to adjust that color. So I'm going to go over here into the color, and I'm going to just drag it over here and make it all the way white. And what this does is it makes the color like look more vibrant, and you can actually see the character a lot better this way. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the ponytail. Just make it white, and you can see here it's looking better. It's matching up. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at her run animation. Looking good. Okay, cool. All right, it's looking a lot better. This is looking really, really pro. And I just wanted to say that there's a ton of assets that are in the asset library that you can use to develop your game. We're going to be dropping FBX files in there as well. You'll be able to get FBX characters and things like that from within the software. It's going to be amazing. So keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, we do have some websites that you can download free FBX files. There's tons of places online that you can download free FBX files and drop them into Buildbox. I have talked to a few of you about having some sizing issues. Like when you drop in an FBX file into Buildbox, it's just huge, right? It's like just massive, and sometimes you drop in an FBX file and you can't even see it, right? And you drop it and you're like, where is it? I can see it on the menu, I can see it in the scene, but it's like it's gone from view. So what you need to try to do is zoom out. Just zoom out as much as you can, and then you might be able to see the 3D model. What I recommend is to open up the 3D model or open up the FBX file in like Blender, and then scaling it down quite a bit, and then re-exporting it and putting it into Buildbox. That's just my recommendation, so you're not dealing with really massive assets. Okay, cool. So we've got this awesome character. I'm going to go ahead and save again real fast. And now I'm going to go ahead and press play again. Let's take a look at our character. Okay, awesome. Okay, she's looking good. This is a cute little character, and she's walking and running, and the camera's moving great. And then I've got this joystick down here in the bottom, but I had that from before. I'm gonna show you how to add that again right now. So let's go ahead. Let's start off with a clean slate. So I'm going to go here into my 3D, go into my mind map first. Then I'm going to go into my 3D world UI. And I've got this joystick here. I'm just going to delete it for right now so that I can show you how to create it from scratch. Now, let's go ahead. Let's go back to our 3D world. Let's select our character, Jen. We've got all the options over here on the right. And let's go ahead and add in one more brain box here. Let's add in mobile controls. So mobile controls is going to have that little joystick, and this is so that you can play it on your game, on your device, on your phone. And I'll show you guys how to export your games real fast once you've set up your mobile controls, so that you can actually play with it on your phone and test it out on a device, because that makes all the difference, right? You haven't really truly played the game and experienced the game until you've played it on an actual device. So let's go ahead. Let's add in these mobile controls. And looks like I added in a platformer camera controls again, so I'll go ahead and just delete that. My bad. Add in a brain box. Let's add in mobile controls. There we go. This time I selected the right one. Okay, cool. So for right now, I'm just going to leave the mobile controls how they are. Let's go back to the UI, and I'm going to set up the joystick over there, and then we'll come back and we'll polish up these settings. Okay, so I'm going to go over to the 3D World UI again. I'm going to go to the asset library again. This is going to have different assets than in the asset library in the 3D world. And right now it's a little bare bones. We've only got 2 assets, but we're going to be adding tons more. So just be patient with us. This is kind of a new feature that we added recently. So I'm going to double click on the joystick. You can see I already have one down there. I'll go ahead and click out of the asset library again, and then select the new joystick that I just created. Oops, I closed the menu down. So I'll take this joystick, and I'm going to drop it into the scene. And it's really nice. You don't have to resize it. You don't need to do anything. I'm just going to put it over here on the right side. I will say that oftentimes the jump button goes on the right side. And then the keyboard or the mobile controls tend to go on the left, because it's like, kind of like a standard thing. So when you're setting up your UI, you might want to keep that in mind. It doesn't really matter. It's not like a law, but it's like a pretty common practice. So let's go back to our 3D world, and then the next thing we need to do is, I forgot one last step here. Okay, so we've got our joystick, right? For the joystick to work, we need to make sure that the event name on the joystick's send node there, like the little attribute, we need to make sure that we go ahead and type in something that we can throw in and match it up with in the 3D world. So let's go ahead and type in joystick here, just to keep it simple. Okay, cool. So we got joystick there. Let's go back to our 3D world. Then we go over here to our mobile controls brain box, and we type in joystick again. Okay, so we'll type in joystick again. All you have to do is just make sure that they're spelled the same. If they're spelled the same, it'll totally work. But there's one other little thing that you got to do, and you got to delete the event group. If you have the event group set up like this with QWE, it's not going to work. So you just want to go ahead and just delete it, and then you should be fine. So let's go ahead, delete it. Let's save. Always a good idea to save before you preview, because you never know if you've accidentally made tweaks to the code or something. You just want to play it safe and go ahead and save your game before you preview. So I'll go ahead and preview my game now. Okay, awesome. Sweet. Okay, cool. Okay, you notice how the character, she jumped right away? Like the second I click over here and I move it, the character starts jumping, right? That's not what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of the preview. Let's go ahead and let's select let's see here. There is a set facing direction, Jump button. Yes. Okay, perfect. I was looking for this. I had to scroll down all the way to the bottom. Okay, so at the very, very bottom of the mobile controls, you'll see like 2 button options, right? You'll see run and you'll see the jump UI button. You'll see both the button options there. So for the jump one, it's currently set to screen so that the second you touch the screen, it's going to jump. So let's go ahead. Let's take that off. Let's just do none. And then now, once I preview my game, watch when I click the little joystick, it's not going to jump. See, the character doesn't start jumping. And then the character only starts really moving once I start moving the joystick. You could also, I feel like the sensitivity is a little bit high right now too. I might crank down the sensitivity to 1 there and just make it a little bit of a slower ramp up, because you notice that she'll just start running right away. So, okay, cool. So this is looking good. This is looking way, way, way better. And okay, cool. Got a little jump there. The jump force is a little high, probably on the jump. Yeah, she's just flying. So we would probably want to exit out of the preview, and then let's go down to the, let's see here, the jump force. Okay, jump force. Let's crank that down a little bit, probably like something like 5, something like that, and let's see if that makes a difference. Okay. Yeah, way, 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 way better. It just looks so much more natural. I mean, it's kind of a little... Probably I went a little bit too far, actually. I probably lowered the jump too much, but you can go ahead and play around with that. Anyways, super fun stuff you can do with this character. I mean, you can get really goofy with the character now, too. You could say, okay, let's just for fun... Let's just crank up her run speed to I don't know, 20 or something like that. Let's just see this thing go flying. So let's see here. Max run speed. Let's do 25. Go crazy. Okay, this is going to be hilarious. Okay. Yeah, she's just walking along, and then rah! Super run. Yeah, just flying. Okay, cool. Anyways, you can go ahead and mess with that as much as you want. You can get the motion, the run speed, all that stuff dialed in however you like, but mess around with it, have some fun. Okay, and then once you've done this, once you've got your FBX file in there, I do recommend at this point exporting your game and testing it out on a device. So to do that, you want to go up to File, then Export, and then whichever one that you want. If you're an iOS guy, if you're a Mac person, you'll want to go with iOS. If you're an Android, a Google, a Play Store person, then you'll want to go with Android. Now, I do have 2 tutorials that I can show you that would be great to look at. I'm going to go ahead and just pull them up real fast for you. Okay. Give me just a second. I'll yank these up here so you can see which ones I'm talking about. Okay. Alrighty, let's see here. So we got the stream going on, and then you know what? Actually, even better. I got a better way to do this. Let's go over here to. Now I'm gonna go ahead and save the live stream here. I'm pretty much done with this one. I'm going to show you another game file here pretty soon, and then we'll keep going. So I'm going to go over here to Home, and you want to go over to the Tutorials tab, and then you'll see the exporting to iOS tutorial and the exporting to Android tutorial. And then right here, the making a simple video game, that one is going to be the FBX tutorial here pretty soon, soon as Nick is done uploading it there. So so we've got exporting to iOS and exporting to Android tutorials if you want to watch those later. I'm going to be adding to the Android tutorial here pretty soon in the next few weeks, and I'm going to add in the ability, or I'm going to teach you how to do a signed APK so that you can submit the games to the Play Store, and you can start doing that. Just gonna sip on a little coconut water. Okay. All right. Let's get back to it. So, later, check out the exporting tutorials and export it to the device, play it, and run around with the character and get a feel for it. Okay, cool. Next thing, let's go ahead and check out this awesome platformer BB dock that we're giving you, and it's a platformer BB dock to try out. I highly recommend all of you play around with this and getting this. And if we haven't sent this out, if you don't have this yet, we'll be giving this out very soon. So this is a new platformer template that we have. I'm going to go ahead and just start by playing it so you can get a little preview. So this is called Adventure Run. Got a nice little UI there, a little opening up. And got a little music playing. Let me go ahead and crank the music down a little bit. Okay, let's actually, you know what? I'm going to turn off the music just for right now. Let's see here. The gameplay music is right here. So if you do want to add game files, it's super easy. You just drop your MP3s right here into this box, and then that's what you were hearing was the gameplay music from that. It was that gameplay file. And if you want to just get rid of it, you totally can. You can just press the exit button, and if you want to pull it back, if we ever want to bring the gameplay music back, we can. We just press the little edit button, and then we select from the list of different MP3 files that we have. So for right now, I'm just going to turn it off so that it's not playing in the background while we're checking this out. So okay, cool. So let's go ahead and press play. Okay, awesome. We have a different little, like the boy character, basically, the partner here to the Jen character, and I believe this character's name is Kenny. And yeah, he's awesome. He's already set up for you. You can see the walk is looks really clean. Let's see here. Does he have the run capabilities? Let's see here. Yeah, no, he's got pretty much just like one speed, right? Which is fine. You don't necessarily have to have a walk and a run. You could just have one speed, not a big deal. And then let's check out the jump. Oh, the jump looks good. Okay, cool. Yeah, nice little jump. And then let's see here, can he crawl? No. Anyways, okay, cool. So this is an awesome little template. And let's go ahead, and you can also, let's see here, use the button to jump too, which is really cool. So let's go ahead and let's try to make this character, let's move this character up and play with this template just a little bit. Cool. Collecting coins, awesome. And then we've got some enemies here, which is really awesome. I got defeated. Okay, perfect. So I want to show you something. This is pretty cool. So you saw how I was just defeated right there, right? Which was pretty lame. But this time I'm going to beat that character. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to do it by jumping on top of the character. Yeah, jumped on top of the enemy, and then I'm good. And then, so that's really cool. It's kind of like Mario, you know, with the little Koopas. So you can go ahead and move this box. I'm going to go ahead and try to defeat the character one more time. Or defeat the enemies. I keep saying character. Oh, no, I died. What an idiot. Hold on one second. I got a little bit of music coming in here. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, cool. So you know what? I know what it is. I think the gameplay music, the game music is from the Game Over the Game Over MP3, and then let's get rid of this one as well. So no more music for this one. Okay, perfect. All right, now I'll go ahead and press save again, and then let's run it. And then what I'm going to show you is, so oops. Okay. Let's refresh this real fast. I tweaked it out by clicking some funny buttons. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, collecting coins, moving up. Let's go ahead. Keep moving, keep defeating these enemies. And the last one, perfect. Okay, cool. Now, you can't actually get up there to like hit the star, right? Like you can't jump that high, so you just got to move this little box over and then jump on the box, and then you're good, and you collect one of the stars. Okay, and then we can keep moving up the level. So this is pretty cool. Let's see here. Oops, almost got smashed. Nice, I jumped. Woo, Barely got that one. Oof, this is tough. Whoever designed this, I think this is Max Mueller and a couple guys from the team designed this, and it is not an easy template. It is unforgiving. No, we have 2 stars. Almost there. All right, let's see here. And you can totally, I'll show you how to kind of manipulate this around a little bit and kind of try out some different things with this character and this template here in a little bit. But yeah, this is it's pretty awesome what you can do. You can see that the platforms are sliding out from the wall, and then we're getting there. We're getting to the top here. Woo, tough. Okay, cool. Almost to the top. This is kind of reminiscent of Mario a little bit, kind of like the first like level when you first go to the you have to fight the penguin at the very top, or yeah. Okay, boom, 3 stars, and you win. Okay, cool. So that's the platformer template. We're going to be giving that out to you if we haven't already, and you'll want to go ahead and mess with that. Definitely go in and all of the FBX files, all of that stuff was all done with brain boxes. It's super easy. You can do it too. No big deal. And let's go ahead and let's try to like manipulate this around. So one thing that you could do is you could use all of the same logic that we currently have in this game, and then just change up the levels. Maybe like you can, move the stars around and kind of, create your own design. So I'm going to go here into this 3D world, and let's go ahead and let's just mess with this around. So if I want to, reposition this tree, right, I can just go ahead and slide it over here, or maybe over here, try to kind of like hide up the coin or something. Oh, now I can see it. Now I see the game, what the game is hiding. There's this little layer of coins here that you have to get to. You can only get to them if you probably jump from this ledge and jump down. I missed that the first time. But yeah, so if you want to, let's say, add a second tree or something like that, it's super easy. You can do it with either doing Command C and Command V, or which will be copy and paste, or Control C and Control V if you're on a PC, and or you can just hit W, A, S, or D on your keyboard, and then that will also create copies. So I'm going to just hit A on my keyboard, and then you can see that a new copy was made. So I'll just go ahead and slide it on over here, and then now we've got 2 trees instead of 1. So I encourage you all to take this template. It's so cool too. This the sky. Don't you love like what the we have a creative team here at Buildbox, and they made this really awesome sky, this sphere, so that it basically works as the sky as the background for the game. Take a look. So you see like all around right here, it looks really clean. And you can even, let's take a look. I'm going to put this into camera view real fast, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and so you can see it a little bit better. And then let's press play. And yeah, kind of a different feel now. Not nearly as close. Actually, it might even be a little bit better like this, because you can kind of see a little bit better. You can see the obstacles and stuff coming up. Like before, I couldn't see that these coins were right here. Ooh. Oh, I landed on the tree. That's cool. Anyways, so I wanted to show you this template. We'll be giving this out to you all, so that you can mess around with it and have some fun. Now let's go ahead and let's start another tutorial. I'm going to show you how to make the game phases, a 3D version of the game phases today. So I'm going to just kind of give you a quick preview. So let's see here. Okay. So I'm going to pull this over here to the main screen so you can see it. It's a little tiny right now. Okay. Now, okay. So this is the game that I had designed. I did this months ago. Let's see here. I did this October. I did this, 2018. It's been a while. When I first did this, I wrote custom code at the time, because Buildbox 3 was like barely out. And so we just hadn't developed it as much. So I wrote a bunch of custom code. Go ahead and play this a little bit and turn off the music turn off the sound. So everybody knows, everybody should be familiar with Phases. It was a game created by Trey Smith, and I think Nick Rodanko helped out with that, or I think it was mostly Trey, and it was built on Buildbox, I think Buildbox 1. And so I had built a 3D version of that, and in this video that I'm showing you here, I just kind of go through my code. It was like very centered on code at the time, because I was trying to encourage people to write their own code and to add to the community. But now you can do all of this with no code at all, with all just pre-baked nodes. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and make this thing. So I'm going to start from scratch though, and I'm only going to do this for about 30 minutes today, and then I'll continue with it later in another live stream. But I wanted to do 30 minutes of Q&A at the very end. So we're going to go till 5 p.m. today. It's 4 o'clock now, just so you all Pacific Standard Time over here. And then let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to exit out of this little guy here. We saw that preview. I'm going to now just start with a fresh game. So first I'm going to go to the home button, the home tab here. I'm going to get off of the tutorials and go to templates. And also just quickly to show you, we have some amazing templates here for you to choose from. We're adding new ones all the time. 3 new ones that we just added recently are some great ones. Interstellar Strike, the adventure platformer, kind of like an RPG style template, and then a dagger toss is also pretty cool. So play around with those whenever you get a chance. Also, definitely take a look at the tutorials pages and get some feedback, get some answers, some questions answered there as well. Okay. Now let's go ahead. Let's start with create new. I'm not going to start off with a template because I want to show you how to make this from scratch. So let's go ahead and start with that. So I'm going to hit create new. This is super cool. You can start off with, this is a new feature. You can start off with a template. You can also choose to create a brand new individual template, which is really awesome. Definitely try out the wizard. It does a lot of the work for you in the beginning. It makes like starting the game super easy, super fun. I'm not going to do that today. I'll probably do that in a later video. But today I'm going to show you how to do something from scratch. Just a blank slate. So we've got a 3D game. I'll go ahead and I'll save the changes to the platformer. Didn't make too many changes. Yeah, let's see here. Okay, and you know what? I'm going to take 1 second here to try to... I'm going to try to restart Twitch. I didn't know if I could do that or not, but it looks like I might be able to. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's see if that works. I tried messing with it. Twitch is being a little difficult with me today. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's keep going. So starting off with a blank slate. If you look into the 3D world, all you've got is some grass and a cube to start off with. Now I'm going to, for right now, I'm just gonna just leave the cube. But I do want to go ahead and get rid of the grass because we don't really need it. So I'm going to take the ground here. I'm going to make sure the ground is selected. I'm going to go over here to the ground type, and I'm going to select no ground. And then that just completely gets rid of it there. So it empties out the space. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to... Hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry. Thought I had a knock at the door. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to center this down. I'm going to put this on the ground. I'm going to make this 0. I'll also shrink this down. For right now, let's shrink this down to about half. And then let's stretch it out to 2 so that it fills up the scene really, really nicely, that pathway. And then let's go ahead and just stretch it out. And I'll go ahead and take the start of my scene. I'll keep the start of the scene right about there. but I'll take the end of my scene and move it down a little bit. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you just how to start with the character. Okay, just how to create the character, and then we'll go from there. I'll show you some other stuff that I was working on last night that I might be able to show you maybe next live stream. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this. I'm going to call this platform. And then I'm going to also put it in the collision group platform. Collision group platform, not coin. Okay, cool. And then the last thing I'm going to do with this is you'll notice that the physics type is automatically set to dynamic when you start off with a new template or a new file, a new BB doc. We don't want it to be dynamic because it's just going to fall into nothingness. I'll go ahead and show you. I'll preview it real fast so you can see. If I press play, it's just going to just fall. And we don't want that. We want this to be a platform and just be stationary. So there's two different things you could do with that. That means you could either make it static, or you can make it kinematic. So I'm going to do static first. Okay, and I personally like static. The difference between static and kinematic, like one of the main differences is that static's collision shapes never move. Their models might, their 3D models might, but their collision shapes don't. The kinematic though does. It can move. The animation could move. The model can move, and the collision shape. So just for future reference, and I'll have more documentation on that later on. But okay, cool. So we've got our little character here. We've got our platform. All right, now let's go ahead and let's make a character. So I'm going to go to the asset library. I'm going to just grab a sphere for right now, and I'm going to just leave it at that. I'm going to bring the sphere out, or I'm going to move the sphere up to the character's main menu, or the character's menu. And then I'll call this main character, rename it main character. And this is all stuff. Today I'm going to just use shapes. Today, in other tutorials, I am going to show you how to use like really polished, really beautiful assets in your game, kind of like our first. Kind of like the first example and the second example. We'll do more of that. But because I wanted to remake Phases with you, and when Trey first made the Phases game, it was just shapes, just like really, really crafty looking shapes. So we're just going to get creative with shapes. I actually think you could make an awesome game. I see great games all the time at the top of the App Store that are just like people using shapes and spheres and cubes and triangles really creatively. So that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to drag this main character out. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reposition it right in the center. So as you see how I dropped it in, it automatically went to like -4. That's because I placed it there. Now I'm going to do 0 here, and then let's do 0 on the Z. Let's probably make this, let's put this up like maybe 4 in the air. And then I want the sphere to be a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go with like half the size. I'm just going to put 0.5, 0.5, 0.5 in there. Okay, cool. So, 1 second, everybody. Okay. Now we've got the sphere, and let's see here. When we add in the sphere, it's automatically set to dynamic. So let's go ahead and let's just watch it drop real fast. Boom. Falls onto the platform. That's it. So what we want is we want it going up and down, up and down, up and down constantly, right? So let's go ahead and let's do that. So first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my main character's node map. I'm going to double click on the main character there. I'm in the main character's node map. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up some movement. I'm going to add in a jump node. And I'm going to add in an if collide node. Okay. Now let's go ahead and let's check this out. So I'm going to hook up if collide, and I'm going to set up collide to jump. Now, what it's set to right now, whenever you drop in an if collide node, it is always set to the affected asset all. And so what we want to do, though, is we just want it to be platforms. So I'm just going to say that when I collide with a platform, I want it to jump. And then that's it. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I don't want the jump to be jump force to be 10, or I'm sorry, to be 20, because it's just going to go flying up. So I'm just going to make it 10 for right now. Okay, cool. All right, it's looking good. Looking a little slow, in my opinion. If we look at the actual phases gameplay, and you can go ahead and you can take a look at the game in the App Store. I don't know if I think it may still be there. I don't know if it's optimized yet, but you can also take a look at videos of phases to kind of get an idea of like the rise and fall of the ball. So let's go ahead and tweak this a little bit. So first off, I want gravity coming down on this harder. So I'm going to go to my 3D world. I'm going to go to my mind map. I'm going to select my 3D world, and then I'm going to go to the gravity, and it's set to negative 9.8, which is like supposed to kind of mimic the actual gravity on Earth. But I'm going to crank that up. I'm going to like double the gravity to like negative 20. And okay, now let's go ahead and let's see what's happening here. Okay, so it's coming down faster. The gravity's pushing down on it harder, but that also means that it also means that the jump force isn't really hitting it as much. So we do need to increase the jump force a little bit. And then you also, let's take a look at this. Let's see, do you notice how the sphere didn't keep bouncing? You see how it stopped at one point? This has to do with collision shapes. So we're gonna fix that right now too. So we're gonna fix the jump force, and we're gonna fix that collision shape up so that it's constantly hitting platforms, and so it's working correctly. So let's go ahead and go to our 3D world. Let's go ahead and take that jump force. Let's crank it up to like 15. I have a feeling we're having to go higher than that personally, but I think we'll be good for right now. And then I also am going to change the collision shape. So let's take a look. I'm going to select our sphere right there, and then let's put it into collision shape mode. And then what do you know? We've got a cube which doesn't make any sense, and then we've got this the sphere that's like inside the cube. So let's take why is that? Why do we have this cube? So let's take a look. So I'm going to just show you, if we select our main character over here, you see over here on the right, whenever you when you automatically start off, the collision shape it will match the collision shape of the item that you brought in. But if you were to go into the main character's node map and you check the collision shape, whenever you add an if collide node, it automatically adds it as a cube first, and then you have to go in and you have to change it. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to make it a sphere as well, and I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger than the actual, or actually better yet, I'm going to make the other one a little bit smaller. So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to take this first start one. I'm in collision shape mode right now still. You can tell I have the little sphere turned on over here, and you can see the little bit of yellow. And then I'm going to take the scale tool. I'm going to zoom in here so you can really see it. And I'm going to take the first start one, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. You see how the yellow faded away and then it kind of like tightened in a little bit? That's going to be the difference right there. Now when we play it, it's not going to have any problems, I promise you. So I'm going to go ahead and just save real fast too. So I'm going to save this as Phases BB Doc. Right now, let's save it to my desktop. Cool. And then we're going to keep working on this later. Don't worry, we'll finish out this game. We're probably not going to get as far as I want to today, because we only have about 15 more minutes, and because I teach slow, because I give a lot of advice along the way. But we'll get there. So now we've got, okay, cool. You know what? The jump force actually ended up being maybe a little bit too high, but we can't really tell because the camera's kind of in a weird spot. So let's fix that. So you can tell though that the jumping's no more problems there. Collision shape's hitting every single time, and it's just fine. So let's exit out of there. Okay, let's get out of collision shape mode. A lot of times I forget to get out of collision shape mode, and I start moving things around, and I'm just moving their collision shapes around. So don't forget to turn that off. And then let's go ahead and let's take this camera. Let's move it on over here. Boom, boom. Move it over here to the side. Let's do a little turn ski here, like that. And that's about, let's do a 90-degree turn here in the y-axis. If I want to get it exactly dialed in, I do it over there in the corner, in the upper right-hand corner. And then I'm going to not do a, it's got like a kind of a downward, like a downward angle, negative 30 degrees downward at the character, and I don't really like that. So I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to kind of it's almost like 2D like angle, right? It's like right from the side, but you can clearly see it's like it's got a 3D look to it. Now the other thing though is, okay, so this game it looks like the screen's in portrait right now, because you can see the game frame, you can see what the device frame is going to look like. It's in portrait. We don't want that. The actual game phase is in landscape. So let's go ahead and let's change that up a little bit. So I'm going to go to settings. I'm going to go over here to orientation over here in the settings, and I'm going to change it to landscape. While I'm in here, I just kind of wanted to share something cool, super cool feature. If you're interested at all in adding Facebook analytics and adding the Facebook SDK, and you're thinking like, hey, I'm thinking about adding these in, start running some tests on my game, start getting some stats and statistics on my game, you go over here to the SDKs menu. You click. You can do this for both iOS and Android. You click the plus, that little add button. You go to analytics, and then you've got Facebook. And then all you do is you add in your app ID, your app name. You're good to go. And super cool feature. It is only available on the Pro version right now. So you would need to purchase the Pro version and upgrade to be able to get the Facebook SDK working. But I just thought you should know it's there. Super cool feature. Just came out recently. Check it out. Okay, so back to where we were. Games in landscape now, like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's press OK. I'm going to save my game. Okay. And then let's go ahead and press play. Okay. Much better. Okay, I really like that. Now, I do want to make a quick test, because the thing about phases is it is just up and down no matter what angle it hits. If it hits something that's like at an angle like this, it's still going to go straight up and down. It's not going to like come off it at a weird angle. So we need to double check that real fast and make sure. So I'm going to exit out of here. Okay. And I'm going to just test something out real fast. I'm going to take another platform here. I'm going to crank it like this. And I just want to test. I'm going to test this out in a little bit. Okay. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to make it so that the character can move side to side, right? So right now we've got the up and down, but I wanted to test it. I want to jump onto that platform, that other platform, and test to make sure that it's still working. And I can't do that unless I can get the character to move. So here's how we're going to do that. Before I had to write custom code myself to do it. This time we're just going to do it with nodes. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a UI button. Oops, yeah, UI button. There we go. We'll do UI button. We'll go ahead and make sure it's enabled. I'll go ahead and hit S on my keyboard, so I've got two of them. And it's already hooked up. It's really nice. I'm going to call this one left side. Go left, left side, move left. Yeah, let's do move left. Let's do move left. I like that better. Move left. Sweet. Okay. Now, the same thing. I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do move right. Perfect. Okay, cool. And then we need to go ahead and make some movement, get some motion going. So we're going to grab a move node. And let's go ahead and do that. So I'll make it so that we've got 2 move nodes. I just hit S on my keyboard and that duplicated it. Then I'm going to grab this little connector here, just swing it down, connect it to the right one. I'm going to call this one move left here so that it's really, I like to maybe go a little crazy on the labeling because it makes it so straightforward. I'm going to show you something kind of cool that I did last night that I'll show you that in the last 5 minutes before we do Q&A, and then and I hope you guys think it's cool. So, oops, that's move left. I want to do move right. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and try this out. If I try this, there is no UI button. If I click, oh, okay. So this is interesting. This is a good lesson. So I'm gonna exit out of here. The reason why I touched the screen and it was moving is because let's take a look at the UI button nodes. You see that it's set to screen. That means that if I touch anywhere on the screen, it's gonna move. But what we really want is it to be none for right now. We want to hook it up to something else. Okay, so I'm touching the left and the right side. I ain't getting any movement now. Much better. Okay, cool. So this is a better test, good test. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my mind map, go all the way back out to my mind map. I'm going to either I can take a UI screen and drag it out from over here on the left, or you can right click anywhere in the black space and you can add in a new UI screen that way too. I'm going to go ahead and call this 3D World UI. 3D World UI. Cool. And I'm going to hook it up. Awesome. Now, open up the UI, crack it open by either double-clicking on the UI, or you can also hit this little edit button right there, and that'll open it up too. So if I just hit this little edit button, it'll open it up. Now, this is what I'm going to do. So, UI buttons, they correspond and they hook up to control buttons in the UI. So over here on the left, we've got a control button, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just make this control button be like the left side. Take up the left side here. And then I'm going to actually make a copy, and you can see that. So you see how when I made a copy, it like just went straight to the left. It split it right down the middle, and now it's like perfect. It's kind of a nice little trick, like a little technique that you can use. You get it right in the halfway point, then you copy, and you do, then you just do an S. You press S on your keyboard or D on your keyboard, and then it'll make a really nice copy, and it'll be like really, really sweet down the middle. So, okay, this control button, the left side, we're gonna call this the Move Left button. Move Left button. Now we're gonna call this the Move Right button. Perfect. And I'm going to save. Okay, now, hold on. Share the story. Okay. And cool. All right. So we're going to, now I'm going live on Instagram again. There we go. Okay, cool. Lost the feed there for a second. So here's the thing. We just created these buttons, but we don't have any images for the buttons. You don't need to have any images for the buttons. You can just have them be invisible here. And you'll see here in a second. So we've got the Move Right button. We got the Move Left button. Now let's go back to our main character's node map. Okay, this is the main character's node map. And we need to hook up those UI buttons, the Move Left, with the Move Left button. So let's do that. So I'm going to go to the UI button here, and let's go ahead and let's check this out. So we've got 3D World UI, we've got the control buttons here. Let's exit out of this node map here. Let's go back to the main node map. There we go. Okay, took a second, took a little second there, but okay. Move Left, Move Right button. They're there now. So we're going to go with Move Left button on that one. This one we're going to go with the Move Right button. Okay, I'm going to save again real fast. Okay, now I'm going to press play. Okay, cool. So if I press left, it starts moving down at 1.5 Z in the in that direction, okay? And that's because that's what we have move set up for. We have move left and move right. They're both doing the same thing. They're both moving the character at 1.5 in the same direction. So we got to fix that, okay? So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something like, I think it was like 8 when I first made this. I can't remember. It was 2018 when I did this last time, but I think it was 8 in these directions. I'm going to go ahead and go with -8 here, although I think I might have to switch the signs. Now, here's the thing I want you to pick up on, though. This is a good little trick. This is something good to know when you're using the move node. So when I press play, and let's say I'm going to be up at the top. I'm going to wait for the ball to be up at like its apex, and then I'm going to start moving to the left or to the right. So, okay, first off, it's moving in the wrong direction. But you see how the ball is no longer falling down? That's not the way phases works. It doesn't just go hover, left and right. We want it to move left and right, but we want it to continue to fall and have gravity affect it. So here's how you do that. So let's go ahead, exit out of here. And okay, now let's go ahead and you see how we have zeros here for the X and the Y in for the move node? That's why it's just going straight across, because we're telling it to move. Don't move up or down. Don't move side to side. We're telling it to just move this direction and don't mess with anything else. So we need to get rid of those zeros. We need to get rid of those, delete those suckers. So we're going to delete the zeros from here. I'm also going to change the sign because we figured out that I made the wrong guess there. We got to put a negative sign in front of this one instead. And then we're going to delete these zeros as well. Sweet. Boom. Okay, cool. All right, we got about 5 more minutes on this, and then we're going to get to Q&A, and then we'll wrap it up. So I'll press play real fast. Okay, cool. So now when I press left, you can see that it continues to move, but it moves, but it doesn't. Okay, cool. So this is good to know. Okay, so when I release. Interesting. Okay, cool. So this is something good to know. So when we release the button, you want to make sure that it stops moving, right? You want to stop the momentum. So let's add in a couple more move nodes and we'll make sure that this works. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in one more new move node here. I'm going to make a copy of it just like I did, but this time I'm going to hook it up to release, and I'm going to call this stop moving left. Stop moving left. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, stop moving left. This time, what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that this is 0, and that's it. I think that's it. That's all we want, pretty much. Yeah, we still want to leave everything else the same, but we don't want the character to keep, because what's happening right now is we'll press the right side and it'll just keep going and going, slowly, because what it is, it's taking the momentum and it's still going. It's not that I'm holding it down. It's that we start the movement and then it's got a little bit of momentum and it keeps rolling because it's a sphere. But we need to make it so that the second you release it, it just goes back straight up and down, because that's how phases works, right? So let's go ahead and add in one more node here, and we'll call this stop moving right. Perfect. Okay, stop moving right, and I think we're good. I'm gonna go ahead and hit save again. Cool. All right. Now let's see how this does. So I'm going to preview our game. Okay, I'm going to press and then, release, and then you can't touch it anymore. That's interesting. Okay. So why, when it's released, it stops moving left. And let's see here. Stop moving right. That's good. Moving right. That's good. If I go over here, I can only press the button once. Okay. Well, I'll have to take a little look at that a little later because that's not right. And yeah, so the button is not registering anymore. And I wonder if there is a click through. Nope, there's 0, 0. It's not gonna mess with anything. If I go back to the 3D world, stick to edge, block through touch. Nope, that's it. That's not it. Okay. Well, I'll have to take a look at that. I'll have to tweak that a little bit. Yeah. Okay, let's try that again. Interesting. I'm curious. You know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to add in keyboard controls real fast. Or it's actually, let's see here. It's actually 4:30 right now, PST. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it here. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. I'm going to call this left keyboard button. Left keyboard button. We'll call this one right keyboard button. And we're going to hook this up similarly. Okay. And we'll leave it like that. And I'll take a look at what's going on, why it's not letting me press the button again, why it's like after I release the button is like blocked, like you can't press the button again anymore. I'll find out why that's happening because I'm not exactly sure. It's not supposed to. But okay, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and save, and then I wanted to show you this is a cool tutorial that I was kind of working on last night, but I'm going to what I'm gonna do is I'll just show you like a little peek of it right now, and then I'll do like a more in-depth tutorial later another time. So I'm gonna take a look at, let's see here, Phases Livestream. So this is a cool little feature I wanted to show you. So all I did last night was work on the main menu, and I wasn't like super crazy about it yet, but it's a work in progress. So I just started working on this. So this is as far as I got last night. But I made this Phases 2 text in Blender super fast. I have a background here that's constantly changing colors that I'll show you real quick, and then we'll jump into Q&A. And then I also designed this little play button here, super easy. So let's go ahead and exit out of here. And I'll go ahead into my main 3D world. And so this is one thing I wanted to show you that kind of helps with like good labeling and also just like good node design. So I created a play button that I'm going to use in other games. It's a pixelated play button, so I actually probably won't use it for this game, but I just wanted to make it. And so you just double click on this play button, and then I've got the 3D models all like lined up here. And so this one is the very top of the play button, and I'll go ahead and I'll move this window down here so you can kind of see it. Yeah, a little bit better. Okay, so I know that this node is at the top because I kind of like actually made the play button in nodes like right here. And so if I change this color to something like pink, I know that's the top one. That's the top section. And then and then I also know like this is the little play button here in the like the little center section, and then I've got the white stuff down here. And then I set up a wave and a rotate node so that you see that like that little rise and fall, and also the spin, the little rotation. And then I'm going to show you just two other things, and then I promise we'll get into Q&A. I'm sorry, I'm getting caught up with this, but so the background here, which is just like the color changing stuff. Like let's say you want to like constantly have gradual color changing, right? I can show you how to do that real fast. So I'm going to go to background, and you just want to go over to actions, and you want to go down to color animation. Color animation here, you just drag drag in a color animation node, and then you just choose the color that you want and the duration of how long you want it to take for it to gradually get to that color. And let's go ahead, and I'm going to add in another color right now. So I'll choose the color. Let's go full white, and let's go with like a nice, like kind of a green, like a little, yeah, something like this, kind of like a muted green, not too saturated, perfect. And then what we'll do is I'll hook it up to this animation, this color animation. I'll give it 5 seconds on the animation, and then I'm gonna rename this background model, and I did that because you have to reference the model you have to reference the model that you want to change the color of. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to write background model. And I misspelled it. Background model. Perfect. Then you go into start, and then it's going to go into this one, and then once it's done, it's going to loop back to this one, and it's just going to keep going forever and ever. And it'll just keep changing color after color after color. So let's go ahead and see that again. It'll take a couple seconds for it to like actually take effect and get to that green. It should take exactly 15 seconds technically. So there it goes. It just faded to the second color. Give it 5 seconds. Now it's faded to the green. Cool. So I think it's kind of a cool feature. I think if you add that in, like in certain sections, you don't have to do the whole background like I did. But if you add it in different sections and you do that like gradual color change, kind of a cool effect. Okay, last thing, promise, and then we'll get into some Q&A. This is one of my favorite nodes. Okay, it's one of my favorite nodes. So I want to teach this to you. So basically, what we want to do is we're going to go to controls. I'm going to minimize actions right now. We're going to go to controls, and where are you? Is touched. There you are. That's my favorite one. I'm not going to use is touched in this node map. I'm actually going to use it in the play button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out an is touched, and I'm going to I'll go ahead and I'll move it down here real fast, and then real quick I'm going to show you something. So in the mind map, right, so far it just says main menu 3D world, and it just has that UI output, right? It doesn't go anywhere else. There's no other outputs there. Okay, so I'm going to make it so that when you touch that play button, there's another output that you can go to another 3D world. So we go to the play button, we bring out the is touch node, and we bring out an event observer. And what we do is we go to the event observer. Oops, let's zoom in here and hook it up a little easier. Perfect. Hook it up to the menu jump, and then let's call the menu jump like play. Just play. Play is fine. Actually, that's enough right there. Okay, cool. So we have the play event observer. So now when we go back into our mind map, it's going to have a play output. So let's do that. Let's check. So we're going to go back to the mind map, and then boom, there's the play output right there. And now what we can do is we can say, okay, once I press play, I want to go into this world that's empty, right? Let's go ahead and let's just draw in, I'll put in some wacky character real fast. Let's do an alien. Just grab an alien from the asset library. Let's throw it in here, and let's make sure that it's not dynamic. Yeah, physics type, static, cool, we'll leave it. So this will be a good test, right? So we're going to go to our mind map, and we're going to say, okay, once I press that little play button, is touched, right? Then it's going to go to the next world, and our game's going to start. I really like this because then you can make 3D objects like UI buttons. That's the thing. You can make all these 3D models, and you can make them into UI buttons, basically, or is touch. Is touch has so many uses. Oh my gosh, I love that node. So let's go ahead and check this out. So I press play, and then all I do is I can just touch anywhere on that play button, right? And then it goes into the next world, and I just haven't developed it out yet. All we've got is that little goofy looking alien right there. Let's check it again. So if I'm touching over here, up, I'm just clicking all over the place, nothing, right? But if you actually touch that little play button, there you go. It'll go. Another way of doing that is you don't have to use the is touch node, and you can use You don't have to use the is touch node or a menu jump. You could just go to the UI screen and you could say like, let's see here. Let's go navigation button, right? And then you place this navigation button and you make it invisible and you place it like right over where the person would hit the play button. You leave it as default. Let's call this one play button pressed, so it's a little bit different, or just play button, so it's a little bit different than our other output. And then you'll see here, okay, great. Let's go back to our 3D world or our main menu. And now you see the play button output like added. So what I can do is I'll disconnect this one. So now the is touch node is no longer in effect, and I'll use the play button trick that I used, where I just have like an invisible button here somewhere, so that if the player touches anywhere in that general vicinity, boom, we go into the gameplay. So I'll press play. And it's the same thing. I just press it. It goes into the gameplay. So that's two different ways to jump into gameplay. I like them both. I like them both options. Okay, cool. So, kind of went over a lot of different stuff today. It's kind of a mishmash of like different things. We're gonna turn it over to you. We're gonna do some Q&A. But yeah, I just want to say that I'm not done with phases. We'll go ahead and we'll continue out we'll continue out that game, and I'll build it out all the way. I'll show you a bunch of like a ton of cool stuff. Where I promise you, we're just getting started with that phases game. If we can make it so cool. We'll get like lights in there, moving platforms, enemies dropping this way and that, projectiles flying. It'll be sick. Colors changing. I promise it'll be awesome. So. Okay, cool. Let's do a little Q&A. All right. First person is anonymous dude. Can BB have a special section of color palettes that are easy on the eyes? You know, that would be kind of cool, like almost like pastels, right? You know, like nice gradients or like some like muted colors. That would be cool. You know, hey, while we're doing this, by the way, if there's anything that I can't answer, or if there is any like great suggestions or something that I'm going to add it to the list. Okay, so hey, you know what? I got Jonathan Shota here on the live stream, and he is the head of the QA team, and he's the person that helps really like puts a ton of effort into making Buildbox as polished as possible. And he just asked me what am I most excited about in the recent 3.2 release, and I gotta say FBX. Like FBX files is like, guys, we're gonna be able to make like Legend of Zelda, Super Mario. We're gonna be able to make a ton of games like that, like really awesome like 3D games like that I've always wanted to make, and you won't have to do any coding at all. Like it's gonna be insanely easy. And yeah, so that's probably my favorite feature is the FBX support, and it's just getting better and better every single day. So hey, I'm gonna add that list, anonymous dude. I'm gonna go ahead and make a little list real fast, and I'm gonna say color palettes easy on the eyes. Not a bad idea. You know though, I don't know if you're using a PC or a Mac, but I will say that if you go into let me just quickly show you this real fast. So if I were to go into this, right, into the sphere, if I go into the color window, you can choose some colors here that are pretty good. They're pretty easy on the eye for the most part and stuff. So yeah, you could use those, or you know, something like that. I don't know. I think there's let's see here. There's a couple different options here. I think you might be able to even add colors like to this thing. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that right now is a good workaround. I think you can pull colors from there. Okay, so all right, colors easy on the eyes. Okay, added to the list. Alrighty, next, let's see here. I'm moving back down. back up. Yes, Coin Shop without coding. Since multiple unlock button has gone in BB3, I still can't figure out how it works. We've been getting a lot of questions on Coin Shop with no code. I believe right now you do have to do a little bit of custom coding, but we're working on that. It's at the top of the list. A ton of you are asking about it. We hear you. We're listening, and we're gonna work on it. If I can, as soon as I can, I'm going to try to release a tutorial showing how to build a coin shop with no code. Hopefully, is how we're going to do it. I probably won't release the tutorial until you can do it without any coding, help there. Okay, got it. All right, make a coin shop with. Okay, here we go. Sean Connor, we were working on this. All right. Hey, Zach, can I use Buildbox 3 for a music video project? Yeah. Actually, you know what I was thinking about is okay, so there's been a few users who have actually used Buildbox for like graphic novels, my good buddy Darius Guerrero from the Philippines. He made some really awesome virtual novels with Buildbox 2. I'm sure you can do it with Buildbox 3 too. It's the same way, I believe. And I was thinking, like, okay, he made this really awesome virtual novel. I was thinking you could just like make like cartoons, even like just like regular animations. I mean, you could probably use other softwares for that too, but like you could especially watch this. Okay, especially this. So I'm in the scene editor, right? And if you go down here, like if I just take this guy, for instance, let's take the Phases 2 title. Okay. I'm going to stop the little wave move that I've got it on it right now because I've got it going in and out, so it kind of looks cool. So what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to take this Phases guy and I'm going to turn on the animation here at the bottom. This is cool. This was not in BB2. I know a lot of you are probably missing the scene editor there where you could like adjust the way the scenes work, but we're gonna have more options for you that have more flexibility there. But for this one, this is a new feature, the animation here. Let's go ahead and I'll just start off by hitting enter on the 0 position there, and you can see that there was this little green check mark here, or this little green box that it marks it as an animation placeholder. Then I'll go over here, let's go ahead and I'll move that back. Okay, let's go. I messed up a little bit. Okay, let's go back. All right, perfect. Okay, so it starts there, recording on. Keep the recording on. At the 20th frame, we go here. At the 40th frame, we go here, and then at the 60th frame, let's just go right back kind of like to the center. Okay, now I'm going to turn off the record button. I'm going to press play, and then watch what happens. Wow, it actually hit the ball. That's kind of funny. Wow, that's actually cool. I might even use that in the main menu UI later. I might even do something where like something swings and like smokes the ball or something. I don't know, something like that. That's cool though. You got my wheels turning. So because you can do those animations, you can you could do a lot. I think you could actually build your own like little cartoon show, and like post them on YouTube or something, or even put put them on the App Store. It could be really sick. Okay, so next question. Is there any docs or specs on .bb node files? No, but okay, so that's coming, right? So right now you're able to, some people have been asking for okay, well, can you export BB nodes? You can export an asset and you can share an asset from one game to another, but what about nodes? So right now you have to export the asset and then the nodes in there, and then you can copy and paste the node. It's a little bit of a pain, but you can also write your own nodes in like Visual Studio or something like that, and you can just save it as a .bb asset and then drop it in, and it will work. It does work. It's just like right now we don't have a super convenient way for you to do that without kind of going in and doing some manual coding. like in Visual Studio or something like that. But we'll have a nice export option, a BB node export option, and documentation on all of that, the specs on that too. So that was a good question from Smart Penguins. Good name. Okay, let's see here. We got about 10 more minutes. Let's keep going. I'm using the progression template, but I need to reset it at the end to go back to the beginning. How would I do that? Okay. So that one's a little bit specific. I do believe that there is a, there's actually a couple ways you could do that now that I think about it. One would be like using the scene selector node. Another way would just be a menu jump. Another menu jump is like super, super easy. So like, let's say like, okay, like this, like I'll just like throw in, I'll have the cube at the very, very end of my game, right? And I'll like, let's say the character is moving this way, this way, this way, and if it completes the game and it reaches the end and you want to go back, right? So one way you could do that, I'll go ahead and use this as an example. Let me just quickly choose the color that's easy on the eyes. I like that. That was a good question. Okay. So let's say you got, why did it place it over here? Oh my gosh, it's so far back there. Okay, cool. So I'll stretch this up. By the way, the multi-tool, I never know how to pronounce it. I never know if it's the multi-tool or the multi-tool. But yeah, either way. So let's say you'll have this object at the end of your scene, right? And then basically you just do this, you just do if collide, then event observer, and you have it collide and you have it enabled, and when it collides like with the main character, right, then you have a menu jump and you call it next level or go back to the beginning or whatever you want to do with it. And then what you do is you go back to your mind map and you see, okay, so you have this extra output. So when the character comes in contact with that cube, it's going to trigger the next level emit signal, and it's going to fire off and go somewhere else depending on where you want it to go. The last step, of course, would be to go into this. Like once you've got that 3D model and that object at the end of the scene, once you got it placed like right where you want it to be, you just go to the 3D model and you just delete it. Or you could keep the 3D model and also you see how it's invisible now. You could also probably, I think, make it transparent. Let's see here. So if I so you can still see I've got the cube there. Let's do a collision shape so you can see it better. So you can still see the collision shape is still there. It's just the object's invisible now. And then the other way to do it, just so you guys can see, you guys know you have options, is you go ahead, you make your colorful green guy, right? And then you make sure you've got your model. Oops, that's not what I want. I want my mesh. Got my cube mesh. Cool. Zoom out. There you go. Okay. So I'm back to having this guy, right? I'm going to turn off collision shape mode here for a second. Let's do this. Let's crank down the opacity a little bit. So let's go to something like this and press OK. Then we go back and you can barely see it. So all you would do is you would crank the opacity down all the way down to 0. I'm just kind of showing it so you guys can see a little something there, a little light green. I don't know how well you guys can see that. Actually, it's kind of difficult. Yeah, basically you would just make it invisible, and then that would trigger the event, and that's one way that you can do it. The other way would probably be the I believe it's called scene selector. At one point it was called level selector. Where are you? Where are you? I know you're in here. Let me see. Let me search for it. Okay, level selector. My bad. There you are. Okay. It was under actions. I don't know why I missed it, but that's another way is you could use the level selector. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's move on to another question. How about Buildbox Master Collection? Oh, you can still get the master collection right now. You just email support. We'll hook you up with all the assets. It's a link. So just let us know. Essential medium. What? You asked me to send you a link. I don't know which link you're talking about. Okay. Bills said that we need to go over. We need to show how some of the templates work, right? Like, for instance, like the dagger toss and stuff like that uses a couple like nifty little tricks in there, and it would be probably helpful to go over some of those tricks. Yeah, I can do that. We can do that. Hey, Danny Ojeda. Heck yeah. Is it true that I'm a professional dancer? Absolutely. Yes, it is true. I come from a long line of professional dancers. Yeah. My brother is he's a real talented dancer. He's kind of like Billy Elliot. He used to just watch that movie over and over and over again all day, Billy Elliot. Yeah. That's been okay. Let's see here. Next, can we get an option to render aligned loaded scenes so that scene 1 is rendered? This is a good question. Can we get an option to render aligned loaded scenes so that scene 1 is rendered on top of scene 2? Okay. I like that. I'm going to just... Okay, I don't actually know how to do that right now off the top of my head. I don't know if we have that capability, but I'm going to add that to the list because I like it. Okay. All right, boom. Added to the list. Okay, next. Okay. Let's see here. Does BB intend to add support for new formats in 3D version? Voxel, OG. Yes. That's Renato Jakowatz. Yes, that we are adding more 3D support for different 3D files, not just FBX, but FBX was the most requested file type that we support. So that was first on the list. Okay. The fonts make once provided are terrible. Yeah. So okay, for fonts, right? Okay, so here's what I suggest for fonts, because I have run into this too. Like, I'm not super crazy. Like, we've got a ton of fonts because these are all the fonts that like come default, like come custom, like with your computer, I believe. So what I suggest is you just add. Like, you can find like very nice expensive fonts. I mean, we've got a ton of options though. I mean, it's you really should be able to find something in here that you like. You shouldn't have a problem. There's quite a bit to choose from. But let's say you got like this like really awesome font that you see online that you don't have here. Well, there are ways to add the font to your computer, and then once you refresh Buildbox, they'll show up here. They'll show up in Buildbox, and you can just use them here, no problem. So adding new fonts, you just have to add new fonts to your computer, into your system, and then it'll add new fonts to Buildbox. That's probably the best way to get like the exact result that you're looking for. Okay, let's see here. Next question: will BB have more built-in SDKs added, both analytics and monetization? That's from Dark Sandwich. What's up, Victor? Yes. Of course, we're definitely going to do that. We're just, we're continuing to add more and more, as we, continue to grow. Buildbox has the potential to. Thank you, Essential Medium. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Sean Connor already answered the question about the fonts. Okay. Sorry, Sean. I just reiterated that. So Discord and Discord, the forum, we've got Sean Connor and we got Hugh the dev who are in there all the time. I think. Oh, okay. You know what? Hey, Sean Connor. You know what? I'm so sorry. Okay, before people were asking about Master 2 collection, I got that confused with the Everything collection. My bad. So Master 2 collection stuff, all that software, we are not selling that yet. Okay, we're still we're still going to be working on that. It's not that we won't sell it eventually. It's just not in the plans, not in the works right now. What I thought you meant was, can you have access to the Everything collection, which we are still giving people access to that. That's with all that artwork and stuff. So Sean Connor made sure to straighten me out there. So yeah, that's I got confused. Okay. Use Event Observer nodes in the asset is so much better than the Event Observer in the UI. I agree. Anonymous dude that he says he prefers using the Event Observer node in the asset as opposed to using it in the UI. I kind of favor that one too. I'm not exactly sure why, but I just like having all the stuff in one place personally. Okay, next. I feel the free version should be allowed to have at least 2 worlds because all the game ideas I have are impossible with 1 world. Yeah, it would be nice to have more worlds for the free version, and that may happen down the road. We'll see what happens. You know, we're doing a lot of development right now, and we're growing really fast. So, okay. Okay, I accidentally got I just got thrown down the question list, so I totally lost where I was at. So I'm gonna answer questions here at the bottom. Sorry about that, guys. How do you keep 3D game well optimized? Any advice? Okay, I'll say this for sure. One thing that'll help with optimizing your game for 3D, let me give you an example here, okay? So I'm going to just open up, I'm just going to open up my old file here, and I'm going to show you. So, do you remember that in the very first part of the live stream I showed you like that big old map with like a ton of buildings and stuff? Okay, so that's this guy. I lost my mouse. Where are you? Okay, cool. Excuse me. So this guy, right? Like, let's say you got this giant scene. Like, you can tell right now, like, Buildbox is chugging along because I threw a ton of objects in the scene. But we're working on increasing the performance and like the usability of Buildbox as well. But here's one optimization trick that you definitely want to do. So for something like this is a ton of objects in one scene, right? Like, probably a pretty good chance this is going to be taxing on the hardware. So here's what you can do to make things a little bit easier on yourself. Anywhere you can, get rid of the collision shapes. So for instance, like this guy right here, I've got this building, this factory, right? And you want to make sure that you are not doing a static, like you want to make sure you don't have a physics type, basically, because if you're adding in physics, you're adding in more calculations. And so if you can just do like decorations, you know what I mean, and have no physics and just have it be like the image, that's going to help. That's going to help out a lot. Okay, another thing for optimizing for 3D. Well, this isn't so much for 3D, but basically you should just do this as a good practice anyways. You go up to View, you go to Atlases, and you got to make sure you optimize and rebuild. So you see all the little sprites that just disappeared right there? There was a bunch of them right there. Now they're gone from the game. The game's going to probably work work a little bit better just because of that. So pressing the optimize button is also a good way to help optimize it. So that's probably the best advice I have right now off the cuff. Okay, let's see here. Where did I lose you? Okay, will we ever see a 3D particle system in BB3? Heck yes, we will. And the particle system, I can't wait, because particles was like one of the coolest parts about BB2, right? Is using the particle emitter. Like, you could use it so many ways. There's so many like little tricks that you could use for the particle emitter and like get really cool effects, changing the color, the emitter speed, the range, the lifespan, the rotation, all that stuff. It was so cool. You know who's really good at it was Danny Ojeda. He's on this thread right now too. He was a wizard. He was a wizard with the particle emitter. Yeah, we're going to be adding a particle emitter to BB3 as well. We'll probably do a 2D version and a 3D version. My guess is in the end we'll have both options, because there's, Yeah, because like the 2D version really definitely had like a certain look, and I'm guessing the 3D version will look quite a bit different. So let's see here. Android optimizations. Okay. Sorry, the chat just jumps on me sometimes. Okay, you know what? It's 5 o'clock. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna call it today. Actually, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for joining this live stream. We got a lot of great features right now. FBX files. FBX support, the brain boxes that are in there, the Facebook SDK, the tabs, there's a lot. There's so much I still haven't even covered. I can only cover so much in 2 hours, and I tend to be long-winded. But basically, thank you so much for sitting in on this live stream. We're going to be doing more of this, especially with everybody at home right now. So keep an eye out for more live streams. I'm going to be doing more trainings like this, and also doing more trainings like this. I'm going to try to do it more regularly and do more tutorials. For some reason, people keep asking me to do some TikTok dance or something like that. I have no idea what you're referring to, but maybe I'll do a dance next time. Okay. Hey, everybody, thank you so much again. Everybody stay safe, out there. Wash your hands, practice social distancing. And I just hope that, I hope everybody's okay. I'm praying for your loved ones and stuff. I hope you're all doing okay. And stay inside, make some games, and stay safe. Be safe, everyone. All right, everybody. I'm going to say bye, boxers. Thank you so much again for watching this video. Keep an eye out for more live streams coming up. All right. See you guys.